We were live just a few moments ago, and 30 minutes into the interview, our internet decided to make sure that the interview doesn't continue. But because we're passionate like that and we persevere, we continued. Just for those of you that may be wondering, we have a COVID test that is under 72 hours, and we're both fully vaxxed. So that said, we decided to record live in next to one another. So there goes. Hello and welcome to Creative Cut Talks, the show that aims to promote sustainable visual arts and to bridge the gap between art creators and consumers. Today I'm joined by Wilson Ngoni, the painter, the maestro, a household name in Botswana. We young artists actually look up to him. We learn a lot from him. Ngoni, over to you. Please introduce yourself, what you do, and why you do it.
Thank you so much, Shawa. My name is Ngoni Wilson. Ngoni is my first name and Wilson is my surname. And I am a Botswana painter, born and bred in Botswana. And I've been painting for 3 decades, which is 31 years now. I am a self-taught artist, and my academic background is from Form 1 up to Form 5. I didn't do primary school. I did lower primary, like I did standard 1 up to standard 3, and school stopped because it wasn't my time. And from there, I stayed for many years without going to school. And I came back, did Form 1 up to Form 5. So, and I did art at school. I would say the only art that I have studied it's that level. Yes, thank you.
All right, Rengweni, previously we were talking about your art background in terms of the challenges that you went through for the 31 years that you've been practicing and what you've seen artists go through. So can you share that with us?
It's quite a lot, 31 years is not a child's play, it's not a child's play. Lots and lots of challenges that I faced, and a lot of things I went through to become an artist. To be an artist is like the most bold of all takings. You to be an artist, straight, because in a lot of ways, sometimes you paint and thinking that you are painting really well, or you sing thinking that it's a hit, because when I go and the community that you reside in don't see it. The painting that you've done, and you're trying to communicate something that you're trying to say, and the community doesn't hear you. So it's the first frustration and it's the first challenge. So what you do normally when you're faced with such, what you do is and this is how I managed to overcome. I went about talking about art, carrying paintings. People asked me questions. I did presentations in my exhibitions to bring people to the awareness of what art is. And such awareness is, once they are like fully blown, and you blow your trumpet and everybody hears it, people now learn, and they start trusting, they start know, and they start like consuming your material. That is one of the challenges. But generally, I was born in this country and I painted in this country from scratch. I have never seen art like mine, which is a challenge. If I painted like others, I would know where those others took their paintings, because there will be a path that is like open already. Opening a path that is not like, it's my first time to see paintings like this. I don't know where to take them to. It's a whole heap of a challenge. So who do you take these paintings to? Because if you're taking them to Chawa, for instance, it's her first time to see this, so she will not like really accept. She has products that she's used to, so she'll go to buy paintings from certain artists that she's used to be buying. So I had to work on that as well, to bring this new product, which is Wilson Ngoni, to the people, And it's a challenge to advertise, it's a challenge to start a business. Art is entrepreneurship also, it's a business. So it was that kind of challenge. And other challenges that you face is like people take artists for granted.
Yes.
People take artists for granted, and when you are taken for granted, it kills your vibe. So I was also taken for granted because not only in Botswana, almost Africa as a whole, they think that an artist is someone who has failed at school. They think that an artist is a dropout from the academic stream.
Mm-hmm.
So we are looked upon as failures who now we're desperately trying to lean into art and try to sell something so that we can buy bread.
So we're viewed as those people that are doing this just out of desperation.
Yes.
And
yes.
But how do you feel about that? Because from where I'm standing, art is, there's no economy without art. Art is quite impactful. Art does this, art does that. There's an episode, our previous episodes that talk about, the beauty and the value and impact of visual arts. So, but knowing and owing to such significance, and you are viewed like that, how does that make you feel, firstly, and how do you overcome, and why do you stay in art despite all that?
All these challenges. Yeah, when I was young, when I saw that the community thought that artists are stupid, I actually feel that it's the community that is stupid. You understand?
Okay.
But now with a little bit of wisdom and a little bit of manners, I will not say the community is like because it will sound rude.
Yes.
But the community needs to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
We don't paint because we have failed. We actually paint because we have certain intentions. We have certain motives that we are pushing towards. We are actually campaigning for certain things. We are actually advocating. For instance, right now, if you check, it's the month of like the gender-based violence.
16 days of activism. Yes.
Who are spearheading this? Artists.
Visual artists.
And today is the 1st of December. It's an
World
HIV
AIDS
AIDS. Well, yes.
Yeah.
Who is like handling it all?
Artists.
Who are making all the posters that you see, who are making all the music, the music that you're hearing about all these challenges that humanity is facing. Artists. You understand? So, the community, the society needs to regard artists with such a level of respect.
They need to reverend us.
Yes. So, it's really upon us now as artists to bring the society, the community to such an awareness that, I'm doing this because I didn't fail academically. I'm doing this because I want to contribute something to my community, to the better of the human race, to the better of humanity, to the better of women who are under gender violence, to the children who are under gender violence. I'm bringing better education, visual lessons, to statements on HIV/AIDS, and a lot of other environment, pollution, you name, global warming, climate, what, hunger, poverty, all these things that are trying to challenge human prosperity and happiness. Artists are actually like chipping in and helping.
They're actually, imagine an advert without visual art. Imagine a huge office space without visual art.
Exactly.
And just imagine the world without the creative economy.
I work in a lot of buildings right now, and I see their walls blank, and I usually tell the owners of those buildings, your interior is vapid. It's tasteless. It doesn't have the salt. And
today we speak of mental health. Let's talk about the mental health of the people occupying such spaces.
it's a, you know, they are unhappy people who live in spaces where there's no art because they don't have therapy. You understand? Some of the paintings, I mean, I have paintings go Botswana BAC, Botswana Accountants College. Almost everyone who went to that school calls or remembers the presence of
your paintings,
my paintings, and they talk about how they felt about. You know, I just loved going into that lobby or into that hall or into that space because, you know, I wanted to go and see the Mr Ngoni painting, and I wondered what the artist was thinking. While they're wondering what is the artist was thinking, it checks the mind of the hinges of things. Understand? So we paint to decorate, we paint to educate, we paint to heal, we paint for entertainment, we paint for a lot of reasons, even self-healing. If you see, I mean, an artist painting, either I'm painting because I want to sell so that I can generate revenue for my family.
I love that because we hardly want to admit that we're painting for money. The society has conditioned us to
be volunteers.
Yes.
To be volunteers. Yes.
That takes me to my next question, Rengoni. I understand so many reasons for, you know, motivating an artist to create, the generic ones. But I want to understand, what are your motivations, like your biggest motivations to create?
To heal myself, you know, to heal myself. Otherwise, I could be a victim of drugs or a victim of crime, you know, because we go through a lot. As we grow, we face a lot of challenges. And right now, even like, you know, we're dealing with gender-based issues. And you see, if you look at gender-based issues right now, mostly they are focused on women and children, and the man is left out. But you know, who is this man? Are you going to live alone in this society when I shower? Because you are well educated on how I should handle you, or the society should handle you, or the men should handle you, all the feminism statements, you know. But you are going to meet me who is barbaric, who is not educated, who is not brought to
who doesn't understand,
who doesn't understand
how to handle
so,
other
you know,
people.
So if Lynn I'm taught as a boy child in the same space, or okay, this is how you can handle a lady, I will know how to handle you without feeling challenged, without feeling insulted or disrespected. So, you know, it's how it goes. I guess you understand me.
I understand. So your biggest motivation is to heal yourself.
To heal myself, because, you know, I face challenges. I face challenges, and you know, I am seeing a lot of artists, Chawa, who, when they face challenges similar to the ones that I faced, and by luck and by, you know, I don't know what kind of luck do I have, I managed to overcome a lot of these challenges. Some they succumb to drugs, you understand? Some they succumb to crime, you know. Some they commit suicide, you know. So you actually find that those artists who have an opportunity to continue painting are not prone to suicide.
True. That's very true.
Those who are denied or deprived of the opportunity to paint. And you know, I'm saying this especially to a lot of parents who have children who have passion to pursue art. And you know, I'm seeing a lot of parents sometimes, like my parents wanted to stop me from painting because they wanted me to pursue different career paths. So I'm seeing parents, and it's out of love. Understand?
Definitely.
My mother loved me, so she wanted me to become what she wanted me to be because of love, not because she wanted to demonstrate against me. No. So even a lot of parents, I'm a parent as well. I know I want to see my kids in certain spaces, but at the same time, I need to understand that they're individuals, and you know, the pain that it might bring to take a dream from an individual and, you know, crush it and try to force this particular individual into certain spaces is detrimental. and it's extremely painful to the mind. And a lot of the youth, when that kind of pain comes to them and they can't handle it, they go to drugs, and it's gone, or they commit suicide and it's gone. Yeah.
Speaking of which, parents, usually when parents talk about us or many other artists out there not doing art, they're actually looking at, you creating a living out of something. Now, you are one of the few artists that I know that have created a living and, a very good life out of art. How did you monetize your art, and how do you encourage us to monetize our art?
It's simple. You need to I do what I call, what do I call this thing? I look at how many people can actually afford the 5,000 Mr Ngoni paintings, and I put these paintings, 3-5 paintings a month, that I can pay my bills, I can finance the welfare of my kids here at home and myself, and I can fuel my car, that kind of thing. So we need to look at art as a career. Again, this is how also we can be taken serious. I need to come to my easel in front of the canvas like a headmaster going to attend and address the whole school. I treat myself in a very, very formal way, even though the community regards my career as informal. I treat myself extremely formal, and I don't take myself for granted the moment I step in front of canvas. So that's one. Secondly, when I grew up, ne re itseela gore arte ke ya batho ba kwalang design, ba le hatlatse ga tsela go nowa go gogiwa go le leswenyana go ntse yang.
Wow.
I came and I changed it. It's one of the major reasons why my mom would not encourage me to pursue art, because she didn't want to see her son on the streets and facing such challenges. Even now, I was regarded as from because I had a lot of energy, for a lot of things. So my mom would not want, not my mom only, even my brothers, even my sister, even my siblings, they would not want to see mato a bone, mongaka bone, a le mo strateng, go le majalwa, go le metsokwe, go le ditagi, so they try to discourage me from pursuing this career. But now you come to this level where you paint in a very responsible way, advocacy, you stand tall against challenges and against myths and expectations, irresponsibilities of most artists, who came before us. You correct a lot of things that they didn't do right, and the community starts to accept and starts to now give you as an example. And being given as an example is another thing that pushes me to certain responsibilities. I'm now accountable for spearheading the pioneer artist Davoswa. So what do I do? Now I need to continue bending the fire, making it like stronger, encouraging the next artist, and showing that we can do it, we can survive, we can actually, it's a source of sustenance for us. We can buy bread, which is like now a good thing. And I'm seeing a lot of parents some were my mother's friends now say, that time when you were starting, I didn't know it was gonna come to this.
Yes.
I wish my son so and so
would have started.
Should have started the way you did. And some are apologizing, but now we're discouraging you because we didn't know where you were going. You understand? And I'm seeing a lot of parents again bring their youth here, trying to help them pursue art in the manner that I did.
So you mentor some young artists, or?
I would technically claim that almost every artist who is in this country have passed through my studio or have crossed paths with me either on social media or in person or some way somehow, either through publications or through you who is interviewing me, or through television. They have, I see myself as a big can where a lot of artists are putting straws to suck.
Why did I just imagine a picture of that?
Suck inspiration, to suck inspiration and motivation, and the greatest thing that sometimes you should look at is not necessarily that you are talented as a painter. To paint is good, yes, you know how to paint, but sometimes to have hope is the bigger, better talent. Now, when we have hope, so I think I'm more of that than the painter.
Oh, okay.
I pose as that like a hope person. Yes. So now when they see that, okay, what Wilson has gone through in a lot of ways, and in the same space we are in, and he managed still to become what he became. Now we are going through less or half, or even not going through anything, but we are failing to make it. Why? So they question themselves and they try to steer up and do something. Understand? So yeah.
So now you've been doing this for 31 years. I mean, when did you become popular? When did you become a household name? And what had happened for that to happen?
At school, I started like showing up and throwing waves while I was at school, and throwing dust on a lot of spaces, with my art. Dust, I mean dust particles. And by dust particles, I mean small canvases, small paintings, because I painted, and paintings will be that all over those places. So yeah, I painted, and through rebellion, especially demonstrating against the system, demonstrating against institutions like family, demonstrating against institutions like the academic institution where you are, where the teacher comes and say, and the moment you ask the teacher, so why do you bring art, and the whole class goes like, wow. So that is like recognition already for
how I miss school days.
Yeah. And moments when everyone is going like to, I remember at the time, like when we were in college, I wasn't in a class, and a class of 34, and I'm out there in painting, and the teacher for that particular class leaves 33 students in the class to come and get me out of my painting.
So you used to miss school and paint. It doesn't miss other classes.
Yes, and paint. Because I was doing my thing already. I knew what I wanted to become. Those were years that I prefigured my life. I wanted to become an artist, and that's what I wanted to
So you always knew what you wanted.
I knew it. I made up my mind from day one when I saw paint, when I saw pencils, when I saw surfaces that were blank.
Wow.
Yeah. So that teacher came and said, and politely and calm, I'm a gentleman. I just went to say, so the best thing is for you to go back to class, to those 33 students, because now I'm pushing my life already. If you can make those 33 pass, you would have achieved your goal. Or if you can at least make half of the 33 to pass, than to try to get one student who doesn't even have enthusiasm in
So you didn't have the enthusiasm at all?
I didn't have enthusiasm in academics, even though I was like, you know, I had the prowess to pass. You know, I was one of the best students in academics in all the schools that I went to.
Wow.
But you know, I wasn't interested in those things. You know, I wanted to paint. You know, so I became popular in the school as that painting guy, that painting student, you know. And when also in exhibitions, in competitions, you know, where some of the competitions that I went to, I'll win 6 hours.
Sure.
You know, you cannot top in the top 4, in the top 5, you can know during those years. And sometimes, you know, they will doubt if it was me.
And what were these years? Kibo Mahama.
1999 or 99 or 2000, I remember.
So I bet your word file is just...
It's scary.
Sure.
It's scary. I don't need it because also I don't really look back at what I've achieved. I look forward to produce new, better paintings and break new records. And you know, this is another thing that also is a big challenge to artists who have won awards. They dwell on the glory of their history, than focusing on, you know, making new trends,
reinventing themselves.
Yes. So this is, I think, one special thing about me. I more even the way I look at awards is someone's opinion during that time, and it doesn't generally apply throughout the times. Well, I might use that as a reference that someone has judged or have viewed my work in this manner, but I don't put it as like a scale that, you know, measures the brilliance of my work or the level of my intentions, because even most of those judges didn't even understand my work, you know, so they were judging just on the merit of the surface of the canvas, the visual,
and a score sheet.
Yes, and the score sheet, you know, the visual aspect, but without knowing the content of my work. Yes. So I won a lot of awards, just a lot, both locally and internationally, and I did a lot of exhibitions and had lots and lots of references written for me and recommendations. But mostly some people were writing me recommendations, want to write recommendations for me to go into the academic stream again, which I really resisted. So when I came to the art scene, now fully not as a student, in 2001, upon completion of my Form 5, I found a lot of artists painting landscapes. I found them painting desperate pictures as though they were when I was not tomato sauce I found a lot of artists painting using materials on that level, but materials were there, but they were scared. They didn't have the boldness of taking paint and apply it. Yes, I found our artists painting the president's portrait, which they didn't do well, and because also my community is a very kind community. We are always understanding developer, supporting locally, but we also need to say, as we are supporting local, wake up Luena, so that o ska hella ka support ya mo gae hela.
Give the people the value,
and utlo we onali we Luena utlo investor. You know, Botswana is calling for investors. Botswana is not creating investors who go and invest in other countries. You understand? So this is like now what I was looking at, that, you know, my artists locally are average, but they are not artists who can stand, who can compete at a global scale. See? So this is where things that, you know, I say to myself, I'm not going to be following such paths. I'm going to open new doors and you know, it became Mr Ngoni. And in 2003, I painted the most famous of my paintings, the pregnant skeleton. And you know the pregnant skeleton?
Yes.
is the
a
painting.
scary piece, if you ask me.
Yeah. And you know, in 2004, it appeared on a program on BBC World.
Wow.
Yeah, as early as that time, you know, and
wow.
on the Facebook, so you know, I was trending on The Voice, I was trending on Mayhem, maybe the Echo, I was trending on the old newspapers.
You know, I looked for that go archives.
Yeah.
Why are you not in archives?
I have quite a pile of newspapers that I appeared. Even the first, there was a journalist who had The Voice, Alice Banda. She came, Kozola Mosisi, to interview me, you know, and she took a picture of me, and it was really nice to see myself appearing on Daily News also, many. And you know, from there, a lot of journalists, Wopenyo, the Watch House, you know, followed, and you know, they put me out, and thanks also to the media, before Facebook came, before social media came.
They played a very pivotal role actually with regards to visual arts.
To visual arts, you know, so, and they actually cut what would have been a bigger challenge of like awareness, because art needs awareness. People need to know you as an artist, so that they can consume your work on every level, you know. So, and consume your work on every level, I mean, give you opportunities to paint for them, or to paint even for yourself. Understand? So, that's what happened there. And in 2002, I had an exhibition and I had another one also called Parliamenting. And in 2002, I won an award as sculpture.
Wow, so you also sculpt?
I was taking chances. You know, and you know, I created a mixed media, and I won an award, and I won an award for painting as one of the best painters in the country during that time. And in artists in Botswana, and artists in Botswana were artists within the country, either foreigners or locals. So you know, I felt really big. I felt really encouraged, you know, when I won those 2 awards at a go, and I proceeded to win the award through the following years consecutively, both Kopong Museum, and you know, also other international awards. Commonwealth also writing regarding me in the top 30 in the world during those years. You know, it was really encouraging. So I didn't regard myself as famous, because I was measuring myself against Frida Kahlo, Salvador Dali, Picasso, Da Vinci, as early as that. I know it sounds really stupid, and
no. I think your fire reminds me of Picasso. In as much as your style of painting is different,
it's different.
Your fire, your impact, your positioning truly reminds me of Picasso. My opinion, guys. Speaking of which, what is your style of work? I mean, throughout the 30 years, what has been your styles of work, and where do you focus, you know, your work, your line of work at? I mean, these days when you see your work, you can tell that is Wilson work. But how would you describe your work throughout the decades?
Even 31 years, I still consider myself as upcoming. I'm still growing. So I don't know where will it end. I'm still learning how to paint. You know, I'm mixing new colors every day, colors that I've never seen. I'm painting new ideas every day, ideas that, you know, I have never seen. I'm painting new things. So, you know, I hope one day I'll know how to classify my work. The formal sector, academics, you know, they always have ways of classifying things so they can suit and fit into their vocabulary or training or whatever purpose they be pursuing. I don't know what kind of ism or which classification ism that my work follows under. But what happened while I was growing, when around 2002, a lot of people visited my painting space. Never. So
that's where Meleko comes
that's
from.
Where the word Meleko came from, and you know, Meleko became the surrealistic version
Yeah.
of Swana. Yeah. Meleko became.
So surrealism ya Botswana you do
Meleko,
guys.
Yes. Well, that's how, people identified my work is. They said, Nagera Ntarwana Mogonsinyana, Mopintom Mozinsinyana, Moki Meleko Hela. What's one? And people would not know each other, repeatedly coming and repeatedly saying the same word again and again and again and again. Baholo lebana, bomele borre, ba tswang mo dikgaolong tse di harologaneng a batla ba tsena gone wa ba ira meleko so that's how the meleko coinage became to be identified with some of my surrealistic work.
So you had a meleko face, and then you had a face that I think that's when a lot of people started saying you are an icon. The time you did those 3 pieces, the photographic ones now.
Yeah. I paint wildlife, I paint human activities, I paint my dreams, I paint works in advocacy or humanitarian purposes, and I do this to avoid boring myself. Hence, I avoid boring my audience, which technically also pushes from changing trends. I paint in an impressionistic style, but expressing different ideas in that manner that otherwise cannot be painted in impressionism. And I incorporate dots, for instance, which someone would regard as abstract. I don't follow the isms or those trends. I'm aware of them, so I don't bore myself. I keep myself excited by painting new ideas in different styles.
Nice. You spoke of the dots. Mr Ngoni's paintings always have these signature dots. What are those dots, and why do you put the dots?
These dots, I put them on my paintings to remind humanity that I'm together with them in whatever they're going through. As they see my work, I recognize their plight, their sadness, their challenges. So these dots, I'm saying, as you are looking at these paintings, know that I was doing these paintings with you in my mind. I'm sharing some love, I'm sharing some happiness, because to be less smart of me to paint without encouraging
or engaging
happiness.
Oh wow.
I want people to be happy. The baker is baking bread for people to eat, to have meals and to be happy, and people are brewing alcohol, liquor, so that people can drink. The musicians are doing music so that people can dance to. What is Mr Ngoni doing? So I put the dots to show that I'm contributing to our happiness.
So there's black, red, blue, green and yellow.
Yes.
So are the colors symbolic of anything?
Yes.
Black?
Myself, I'm an African, I'm a black man, I am the black dot.
Wow.
In a lot of aspects, at heart, mind, in nature, in looks, in origins, whatever that black might be, I am black. If it is dead, I am dead. If it is coal, I am a coal. If it's carbon, I am it. If it is darkness, I am the darkness. So I'm the black. I'm a black man.
Red.
Love.
Green.
Without love, shower, we are nothing. If I don't share love with you, you'll die. If I don't love you, you're gonna die. And if you don't love me, I'm gonna die. So we really, really need to love each other. We need to encourage each other, and we to see each other. We need to take care of each other. That's why I put the red dot thing, you know. Yeah. Yes. You were talking about the green dot.
The green, yes.
It's a symbol for hope.
Wow.
Yes, it's a symbol for, you know, new foliage as it, you know, grows, you know. What do you see when you see the green lawn there? You want to go and draw on yourself, and you want
New
to
life.
in your life, you know. Yeah. So yeah.
And then blue.
Freedom. You know, when the sky doesn't have the silver grays of clouds, just view at the sky and see how vast it is, and just imagine yourself floating and going and going and going into whatever your dreams are. So you need that freedom if you are to pursue your dreams to the fullest. And you know, I have the freedom as an artist. You know, I paint as free is.
And then the last one is yellow.
Family. You and me, we are family, and you need family, and we all belong to the human race. We are one family, either global or at a nucleated family, or at an extended family, or at work or in school. You know, we are family, and you know, we still need each other. And you see, as a black person who is free and who has love and who belong to you, and who is hopeful, I paint and bring my paintings to you, so that you know you can be happy, you know. So all what we do, we need each other on every level. I don't make my dots stand alone. Each dot doesn't stand by itself, because my dots, they have to contribute together, which is us, you and me, and the rest of the world. We need to pull together to generate more wattage.
Sure. So you spoke of art expression. I'm just gonna say a bit. With every brushstroke, with every color, there's a representation in art. That is why in our previous episode we spoke of art communication. Rengoni, you kept on talking about the fact that you're self-taught, but I hear you're very, very knowledgeable about art. How was your journey of being self-taught? Like, how did you get to learn so much on your own without going to school? And if you had the opportunity to go to art school, would you or would you not?
The only time right now I return to school and institutions of higher learning is when I go to lecture. You know, not me going to learn. I've been privileged to be on that level. So being self-taught means that one thing, let me tell you something, that when I look at myself in the mirror, the only person I see is the person who invented the mirror. You see, not my own image. Meaning that, you know, when I see the glory that, you know, right now I'm showered with, you know, well saying, hey, you're good, but there were people who were involved in grooming me. I mean, you came, shower, and say, yeah, I love your paintings, but you know, if you added blue, that would be chaba. You see? So, and when I took it into consideration, it became what it is. Yes. So self-taught technically means that, you know, I don't have a degree, you know, from any particular institution, but people went to school for me, and they came and they gave me the ideas that they harvested from these schools, you know. And you know, because I had the brush, people technically have ideas that I have. Unfortunately, they don't have the paint to paint. So, you know, I get their ideas and paint them, and they become mine. So it's one of the things.
It's your IP.
Yeah. See, so self-taught means through my journey as an artist, through my career, my attractive career,
Very attractive.
It brought a lot of people into my space. It also had people invite me into their spaces, and when people were talking, I was listening. I collected wisdom from every encounter. I did not undermine either the youth or the old woman or the old man or the lady there or the poor guy or the villagers or the urbanites. I did not undermine them. I paid heed to what they were to say, especially with regard to my work. And it was really up to me to discard what I didn't want and swallow what was useful to me, what was vital. So self-taught means that being able to have all, both good and crap, you know. So, you know, you burn the iron ore and, you know, get the iron because that's what you want, and, you know, you leave the debris. So self-taught means that, you know, and also self-taught means you become the apprentice to the brush on your own without nobody. You, like on the palette there, you experiment on your own to see what will work, and when you see it work, you pursue it. Or when you see certain mistakes that are pleasant,
you correct them.
The mistakes that are pleasant, you repeat them, so that it becomes a style. Yeah. So self-taught means being able to realize such, to be conscious of that, and being able to hope still to see where you'll be heading towards.
Now, my next question is, you know, we've throughout the history of art, especially in Botswana, I've seen some artists that sold their work internationally, and some of these works included IP, like we've said, and somehow they noticed that they got raw deals and they were cheated. Have you ever experienced that?
And a lot of times, you know, I guess there's no artist who will ever become a master without passing through such doors and to such spaces where, you know, you have vultures, you have crooks, which even right now on this level, got a lot of vultures flying, hovering about me. You know, they were checking if my eyes still blink. If I blink or if I keep my eyes open too long, they just want to devour.
Sure. Yeah. Does that mean you've had a relationship with middlemen, and do you art dealers, and do you recommend that, or do you not recommend that?
I don't recommend the middlemen. I don't recommend curators. You know, I'm actually anti-curator person, because, you know, they please spare my French, they bullshit. Yeah, they really bullshit. You know, they stand in a way. Look at this shower. We have our viewers, right, who are looking at us, and right now it's us between the viewers, and the viewers, they want to see us but they can't, but we have important information that we have for them, but we want also our viewers to be seeing us and our facial expressions, but we can't because there's a middleman who is between here. So sometimes you need to see me but you can't, right? But you have, do you see what I'm actually holding right now in my hand?
No.
It's what you want, what you need, you see. But now, because there's a middleman who comes and tells you, you don't really need what Wilson is holding, or you really need what Wilson is holding, and you actually sometimes find that I'm not holding anything that you want. So you see, these are some of the things that I've seen. In a lot of ways, I've seen a lot of middlemen play games that are not really proper, that, you know, are actually detrimental to the careers of an artist. The middleman sometimes doesn't really care what the artist needs. He is looking at what he's gonna gain, and, you know, he walks and moves on. Yes, similar middlemen here, I mean individuals or shops. You understand? I've been encouraged to open a store called Game City, Kotsako Rail Park, Kotsako Airport Junction, you know, so that people can. But, you know, when I went to inquire what a store sale, it's about 15,000 per month. Or in one of the malls. And I'm an artist. I tell them, you know what? I don't think that I can afford 15,000 a month. I'm just an artist. I'm trying to show my work, and they don't really care about that. They are looking at what they can get.
But those are they middlemen or they're landlords?
It's the same. To me, it's the same.
Okay.
What are you renting? Technically, because you don't have a mall, you are just running it for me to the people who buy. Because these malls or these landlords, so you say, they have spaces where now people can actually come and buy. You are moving from me to the person who is buying. It's the same. Logically, it's the same. I hope you understand what I mean. So they don't care what the welfare of an artist, if you're making money or what. Because even the middlemen, you sign contracts, you're still gonna sign contracts with these people. So what I'm trying to say is, for me to overcome such a challenge, I decided to have my own space, like here in Kopong. And I say to myself, people who can afford to drive from Gabs to Kopong are the people who have cars. And technically, those are people with houses, and the houses that did paintings. So those are people who access me. And the rest of the people will be like, yeah, they should stay away from Mr Ngoni. Yes, I go to do exhibitions. Still, galleries that I don't own, those are middlemen still, because they get a commission, but it's sometimes very, very reasonable. And
so basically, you're saying it depends on which middleman you opt for.
You opt for. I am trying to have exhibitions right now in South Africa, and a lot of vultures, they're just telling me, for me to go and speak with a gallery for you, I need 7,500 rands.
Sure.
You understand? But I still can go and drop my profile myself. Yeah. I mean, 7,500 rands they're offering. If it included a rent house for my accommodation for 3 months and food and transportation within that space, it will be very reasonable. We are all struggling, and the artists are struggling the most, despite the country where they are. You don't think that an artist who is selling a painting for 100,000 is actually meeting his demands. He also have a larger mouth to spend that money on. So if you are making 1,000 pula, you're actually on your level, and even your challenges, the worth 1,000. The more you
the bigger the paycheck, the bigger the challenges.
Yeah, you understand. So sometimes we actually think that because the artists they go level are making millions, can't they? They're actually more leveling it. Yeah, challenge you and each one and the other. So sometimes what matters is your happiness than what
I got you. Now there's this book, Ngoni, Leaving the Brush with Mr Ngoni.
Yes.
Before we even try and talk about it a bit, how did you come up with this idea? It's a coffee table book. How did you come up with the idea? What inspired it? It's a very unique and very powerful one.
Yeah, with the dots behind there. This book, the idea of this book came about, the previous year, 2020, where I had contemplated on it quite some time, even when I was young, when we were opening coffee table books by Salvador Dali, by Frida Kahlo, by David Shepard, by Paul Augustinus, those great masters before us. And I wanted to be in the same shelves as them, with my work being page on pages, but I was low, and I could not afford until last year when COVID-19 came, and now I saw the need for me. This was being creative, where I put 126 paintings into a compilation in a catalog format, where now I'll be selling and at the same time exhibiting. So this book is an exhibition
on its own.
Yes, and I'm selling an exhibition in that manner. So
it's a very, the picture quality is just exquisite.
Yeah, I spent a fortune. I spent an arm and a leg.
I was about to ask you. So you actually said you didn't have the money. Does this mean you funded? I mean, most of the times when people want to publish, they look for sponsors and stuff. Does this mean you funded yourself through proceeds of art?
Yes, I sold paintings, and I financed this book for $250,000 pula. Because one, I would have had collaborations, but sometimes people who come into our spaces to collaborate with us, they want things to be done their way, and it dilutes the purpose of the project, an artistic project.
Whoever brings money decides.
Yes. So I didn't want that. And secondly, you collaborate and the idea is exciting, and people you collaborate with, they are looking at other things, not where now the plight of an artist. I stand for art, and I stand for myself. It's very, very important for me to do that from the onset. I stand for the Mr Ngoni brand, and whoever comes, to be with me, they need to recognize my art and its importance. That is the first thing that pulled us to be here together. But now, if you don't recognize that, it becomes a challenge. And with that, I'm just reminded of one of the challenges also that we face in this country. That have you noticed it in a lot of exhibitions? It's a group artist. Ra leboga motsamaisa tiro go tsile taotona le wena ladies and gentlemen and the sponsor so and so and so and so. But people are gathered to our exhibition, they don't mention us artists.
Thank you.
What is that?
You know what, Rengweni, let me interject. But anyway, continue, it doesn't matter.
What is that? Where is my feast, and you don't recognize me. You come in to feast with me. You want to eat everything there is. You don't give me a share of my meal. I mean, it's technically breaking your plate, my plate. Imagine, but they break that plate, and furthermore, is breaking what is weak already. The art industry is weak. You understand? Is weak in the sense that it's not recognized. It's not given due attention as it should be receiving. It's not regarded in a manner that other fields are regarded. Let me tell you, the health right now, if you say COVID-19, Minister of Health, but do you think that Minister of Health can do nothing without cards, without designs, without that virus drawn by an artist?
Never.
What can they do alone? But they still distance themselves from artists. I'm just giving an example, not particularly saying that our Minister of Health is not doing much. It's doing enough, and it's fine what they're doing. But if artists also are recognized and encouraged to play.
Rengweni, I'm just going to interject. I got a bit... Thing is, the aim of Creative Cut is to bridge the gap between art creators and consumers. And some of the pains that motivate us is exactly what Rengweni has said. I've attended several exhibitions in a lot of places. And like he's saying, you'll be told it's a art exhibition, or this one is performing, there's art on the background, this is happening. And you make absolutely no mention of the artist. You make absolutely no mention of the person that erected and made that exhibition possible. Guys, that must stop. There's no, like he said, how does the ministry even make that poster without an artist? How?
Furthermore, you see, it's said we are there in these exhibitions, and they see us. They don't mention a senior artist, Mr Ngoni, is present amongst the crowd. I mean, not necessarily me. There are senior artists whom I found
Yeah.
in the art field. And
People that had founded,
who started it for us,
yeah,
they need to be recognized and to be saluted.
yeah.
You understand? So imagine, it's so discouraging sometimes how these things are done, and so disrespectful of my field not to be recognized on that level, and all protocol observed, blah 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 blah. No artist is mentioned. What is that? It's just like
Even the vote of thanks, yeah.
it's bull.
Rangoni, this is a family show.
Pardon my French.
Rangoni, you did this book on your own. Just out of interest, who did the intros, the captions, the paragraphs?
Dr. Lisa Lopez Livas of Duquesne University. I met her in 2003, and she became like my mom. She's very, very supportive to even now. So she wrote the foreword to the book, and I met, one of the greatest talents that I have also is to make friends with important people. So I became friends with Teve Karafi, and initially I wanted Sektumino Masire to write the foreword to this book because she was very, very supportive. That old man.
Oh, fallen hero, guys.
Yeah, that old man. He played like imagine just to have the president at that time, and and a senior citizen of that level come to your exhibition. Mr Ngoni, he comes to your house, he comes to Wedding College where you are a student, and in the Makawani. They take you under their wing and they just encourage you. You go to their house now and again. They'll be just telling you, keep on going, young man. So, I met original Dwakwena Tapo, who is a nice guy. I was introduced to oil paint by Lorenzo Talbot.
Yo.
So you understand. So in this book, it's also that kind of homage to all those who played a role. My former headmaster, for instance, Mr. Nziani Murisiwa Nziani, and my teachers and the fellow students, and a lot of artists. A lot of artists will say, Wilson, we look up to you. That is just like encouraging. So this book also is like that kind of homage, even though it's dedicated to my son.
I was speaking of your son. There's a phrase. There's your son. It really, really captured my attention. So your son, do you know what? You have a picture of your son.
Yes.
For Esa. If you're going to be a witch, make sure you haunt. What does that mean?
Like me, his father, I'm an artist, not in halves, not in installments. I'm
a full force.
Full force.
So that's what it means.
Yes, so if he's going to be a witch, he should not be half witch, quarter witch, or 3/4 witch.
You should make sure.
You should go overboard. Yeah. So if you are a farmer, produce food, we want it, we need it. Make sure we have food, produce food. A farmer, if you're a speaker, say it loud so that we can all hear. If you're a musician, let your sound hemorrhage through the speakers so that we can dance, we can hear what you're saying. So if you're an artist, make sure you are the painter, Wilson Ngoni. Anyway, my name is synonymous to paint. Yeah.
In most, if not all, of my networking expeditions, just when I see art, like Rangoni. This book too, I remember one time somebody was like, you should keep pictures of your work so that one day you make it a book. And in my head I was like,
Yes. Now, because I'm saying this, mentioning my son particularly, it doesn't mean that this book is 2,000 copies are going to be read by my son.
Yeah.
So it is meant for whoever who is going to read this book, that if whatever that you do it with your all. Do it. If you are painting a painting, one hell, make sure it's the last and best. If you are writing a book, pour into it. Chawa, you are not sending your daughter or your son to school to become a police officer so that they can come and arrest you. You're sending them so that they can come and protect us and protect the community. So technically, writing this to my son doesn't necessarily mean that it's only for Esa. Yes, it's for him, but it's also for the whole world.
Speaking of which, where can the whole world get this book? For how much?
The book is directly from me, and for locals it's 500 pula. For in the international market it's $150, like $150 US. Yes, so directly from me, and you can reach me via Facebook on Mr Ngoni or you can WhatsApp me on +267 71 45 1006. That's my WhatsApp line.
Thanks, Ngoni. But before you go, what can you share with, remember this is both for the creators and the consumers, what can you share just as a summary to say this is how we will bridge the gap between you two and make sure the arts grow, make sure we monetize our industry, make sure we answer the government's call for creating employment or a livelihood out of our industry?
The whole thing takes both of us, the government, the community, and me, the artist. It takes both of us. It doesn't take only one side. It doesn't take the government alone. It doesn't take me, the artist, alone, and it doesn't take the community alone to support and to make things happen. With that, I encourage artists to have proper attitude towards their art. Artists need to treat their trade in a very, very special way. Artists also don't have to feel too big for their careers. I'm seeing a lot of artists lose it. They come so talented, but they end up empty-handed, and fallen, and but blind because but someone is well off and with enough fire, but because of the attitude, but feel our big. By the way, I just want to say this and straight to you. Do you know we are paid by far more than most of the people who buy our paintings? But still we need to treat each and every client with a lot of respect. By this I mean, if at your workplace you are earning say 70,000, you feel that it's really big money and you can come and buy a Wilson Ngoni painting. But let me tell you something. 20 people in a month are coming to buy paintings that are Wilson Ngoni, it's about 25,000. So compare yourself with me. By far, you are earning that by going to a 9 to 5 job. I'm getting this from playing with color, doing what I love. So you see the disparity between you and me. You get it? But now, I still need to respect that you didn't put a Wilson Ngoni painting on your shopping list for every month. You decided to just branch and get some money from your family and come and buy Wilson Ngoni painting. So you deserve respect for that.
A lot of respect.
And I also really appreciate those people who buy my paintings without looking at their shoes, without looking at their earnings, without looking at how they are earning that money. So our artists normally feel does she or think that she can afford a Wilson Ngoni painting? No. It's not that we encourage. The community need to recognize artists. We preserve culture. We paint and engrave cultural ideas on our canvases, volunteering, you know. So the community will be remembered, this generation will be remembered, this country, this time will be remembered through my paintings. So it's upon my community to preserve my work. It's upon my community to hand over our ideas in the manner that these ideas are to the next generation through the Mr Ngoni paintings and through our other artists who are there in the same community. We are preserving the times. We are mummifying ideas, we are immortalizing ourselves, our names, the people we paint, and the technology that we live within right now, because time flies like the moon moves fast when there are clouds. You don't see it move, it just goes down.
You're such a conceptual speaker.
Thank you.
A true artist.
Thank you. So our communities need to do that, and every individual need to know that we are painting to decorate, to heal, and to do the best. The government should know that artists are not against politics or in support of politics. We are doing what we are doing because we have to do it, and we live in a different region of the mind. So we need support. We need support on every level for us to keep on going. And I need our governments to know that art generates revenue and contributes to the economy of the country. By that, when Mr Ngoni has an exhibition at Kopong Visual Arts Center, for instance, cars start moving from their homes, which technically means fuel is going to be needed. It's business. People come dressed well. People buy airtime to call guy. People come to buy paintings so that people who work in that particular gallery can also be paid to feed their families. So it's a great contribution that I'll be doing to that particular gallery or particular institution that I'll be exhibiting in. So the government need to recognize me as one of its citizens who is doing things for the benefit of the nation.
Well said. Well said, Ngoni.
And finally, I'm currently constructing the Mr Ngoni Museum, the Mr Ngoni Art Center, because I wish to correct all the mistakes that I see in the galleries and in art centers that are there. Not saying that they're not doing enough. They're doing enough. They're doing good. Yes, but I think it will be an additional space to help with the burden of the growing population of artists, because there is an outbreak of artists right now in the world and even in the country. Since we became what we became and visible, we showed a lot of upcoming artists the way, so they dream to be us, to be like us. So there's just an outbreak, and there's a burden on the government, there's a burden on these private sectors. Yeah. So we need additional spaces with new ideas, with new,
especially private spaces.
Yes.
There's one space that every time when you say you do art, everybody says tapong.
Yes.
But do people really understand what tapong is and what it's about? You understand?
Yeah.
So indeed, we need private spaces like yours. We need spaces that are pushing for that. So thank you very much on behalf of those that are thankful.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I cannot wait.
And shower people like you who push, who take their time to come and harvest these ideas, these words, which I hope after you harvest them, this way will be the medicine of the next artist who otherwise would not have seen me like on Kopong or National Museum or on Facebook or in other platforms, and through you see. So I really appreciate to bloggers, journalists, media houses, who are pushing all these things, and to individuals who just like by oral spreading of word, like Wilson Ngoni this, Wilson Ngoni that, and I'm giving you his number so that he can paint for you. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate, and I promise one thing. I hope you allow me to close this talk by making this promise. I promise that I will continue painting, and I will continue to paint better. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Creative Cut, filling the creator-consumer gap.